Today's video is sponsored by Policy Genius. Welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. I am out here in one of my favorite spots working on the little clearing project. I gathered up my burn pile here, tucked everything into the center, got it going again. I think this is day 4 of having a fire. When you come out here in the morning, you'll see it just kind of smoldering a little bit, but there's plenty of hot coals in there. All you got to do is stir it up a bit, pull all the stuff from the outsides, put it back in the center, and she gets ripping again. So along with working on the little clearing project here, I've also been venturing out into the woods a little farther and cleaning up storm damaged trees. We have a bunch of them from 2 windstorms we had early this spring. One in particular is what took down most of the trees around here. I have them from here the whole way down to the brick house, which is probably, I don't know, 1,500, 2,000 feet away in that direction. I just took a maple tree down. Well, it was halfway down on its own. It blew over. but it was kind of in my way. I'm hauling all my stumps down to the edge of the hill over there, and I'll make a brush pile when I'm all said and done here of everything that I have left. But that was a big tree, tall one. It was this one right here, and plus there was another 30 foot of top to it at least. I got firewood here, I got firewood there, I got tons of firewood over at the yard. That's a good thing. Yesterday I was out here with the skid loader, and I was trying to pull that maple down. I could have gotten it, but I figured I was just going to wait until I had the excavator. It was just a little easier pulling it down with that. What was happening with the skid loader, I was grabbing a hold of it with the grapple, and the front of the machine was kind of going down in the stump hole here. So I got it out this morning. Just got a little bit to clean up here, and I'll have a straight shot to where all the stumps are going. Next up, what I'm going to do is fill in this stump hole right here, clean up some of this dead stuff along the sides, and then over on the other side of the burn pit, I've got a big white oak stump right in the middle of everything. Those can be pretty challenging, but I want to get it out of the ground, and then this afternoon I'll bring the skid loader out and start hauling stumps from over there down to there. All right, got that white oak out of the ground. Wasn't as bad as I thought. And there's another small cherry stump beside it. What I like to do, if you've got, a bunch of stumps like in a cluster, I always go around and get the little ones close to it. Get them out of there first, and it'll make getting the bigger one out a lot easier because all those roots are kind of intertwined. So if you pick off the small ones first, the big ones are a lot easier. That is a hot one right there. She's cooking. All right, I need to run out for a little bit, and when I come back, I'll bring the skid loader out with the grapple on it to move some stumps, And then we're going to talk about this excavator. Not just this one, excavators in general. And sometimes it can be kind of a touchy subject. So earlier, I mentioned that today's video was sponsored by Policy Genius, and I want to thank them for sponsoring today's video. If you're like me, you have insurance on everything, it seems. You know, we've got it on the house, the building, the cabin in West Virginia, all the equipment, your vehicles. I've got liability insurance, I've got health insurance, but for some reason, and I can't understand why, I think sometimes life insurance gets overlooked. And let's face it, if something happens to you and somebody's relying on your income, none of that other stuff really matters. Life insurance is, without a doubt, in my opinion, the most important insurance that you can have. Having a good life insurance policy gives me peace of mind, knowing that if something happens to me, the family's going to be okay financially. Policy Genius was built to modernize the life insurance industry. Their technology makes it easy to compare life insurance quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $25 per month for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer coverages in as little as a week and avoid unnecessary medical exams. They're licensed and award-winning agents. They work for you, not the insurance company. They have no incentive to offer one insurer over another. They're going to find what's the best fit for you. Policy Genius is made for parents, spouses, caregivers, anyone that has somebody depending on them. That's what Policy Genius is for. There's no added fees, and your personal details, they stay private. No wonder they have thousands of great reviews on Google and Trustpilot. Your loved ones deserve a financial safety net. You deserve a smarter way to find and buy it. Head to policygenius.com/outdoorswiththemorgans or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you can save. All right, we're back out here in the woods. I brought the skid loader out with me to start moving some stumps, but we're going to talk about excavators for a few minutes. All right, I'm going to start with this, and I've said this before several times actually, but I don't care what anybody else does. I really don't. I don't care what people buy, what they don't buy, what they're doing, what they have, what they don't have. Doesn't matter to me one bit at all. All I do is make videos on what we're doing here on this property or down in West Virginia. Now, sometimes I offer my opinion. You can take it or leave it. Doesn't matter to me one bit. I think some of us, myself included, sometimes overestimate the value of our opinion. In my case, probably when you're talking to your kids, which I think most parents may be guilty of that. But like I said, I don't care what anybody else does. Now, the excavator. Every time, literally every time I post a video with the excavator, like the other day I was digging stumps, just kind of going over little tips and things that I do to make it easier. And you always get some comments like, well, it must be nice to have an excavator, or no landowner is just going to buy an excavator to play around on their property. Well, today I'm going to give you my opinion on excavators in general. Now, I think there are lots of people out there that have no need at all for an excavator. I get that. It just wouldn't make sense. Even if you have a decent sized piece of property and you need one on occasion, you could rent it as needed. But I will say, I think there's also a lot of people out there that could really benefit from having one. Yes, they're expensive. This one was brand new when I bought it, but today that machine costs about as much as a new Super Duty or a new, HD truck, diesel truck. That's about what one of these costs. Tons of money. Now, I haven't had one forever. I'm 56 years old. I've had this machine here, bugs are flying around, for about 2.5 years. So let's see, I'm 56. That would be what, about 4.5% of my life I have had an excavator. I've rented them in the past, but I've owned one about 4.5% of my life. And in the last 2.5 years, I have probably done 50% of like the improvements and work on this property since I had that excavator. A lot of people think they're just for like digging trenches. Very seldom do I ever do that. I mean, I dug all the lines for the building and the fence and all kind of stuff, but they are just a very, very versatile machine. And like I said, you don't have to buy a new one. A new one's about the same price of a new pickup, But what made me think of this was I was talking to a guy the other day, and he sent me pictures of his Harley and his truck, and he was saying he just, you know, an excavator is too much money. It's all what you're into. Like I said, I don't care either way, but I will tell you this. You can do so much work with one of these. It's unbelievable. I just turned over 400 hours on this, and if you go back through some of my videos, and then there's things that I didn't video, the amount of work that I accomplished with that machine is just unreal. It really is. And like I said, I know there's people that have no need for one at all, but I think a lot of people out there could really use one and don't know it. And that's just my opinion. Like I said, take it or leave it, but it's been a lifesaver. It really has. And you can just knock stuff out so fast with it. But if you have trees, if you have a big property, and once you have one, you just find all kind of things to do with it that makes things so much easier that you never even thought of before. Just, I'm telling you, they're just a wonderful thing to have around. Now let's just say you're someone who recently bought a piece of wooded property, and you know you'd like to build a house or maybe a cabin, and you want to do a lot of the work yourself. This is just my opinion. Get yourself an excavator right out of the gate. Doesn't have to be a real big one. Something like this is 13,000 pounds. You could probably even drop down to like an 8,000, 8,500 pound class machine. But even those will pick up big things. They'll dig stumps and you'll love it. And then once you get your house built or your cabin in, if you want, you could sell it. You can buy new or used. You're really not going to get hurt on it, and you're going to save a lot of money in the meantime instead of paying someone else to do that type of work. Now, when I rented machines, that worked out well, but it wasn't perfect because you would just fly around all weekend trying to get as much done as you can, and you'd always seem to leave a lot of things unfinished. Owning one is a game changer. Like, I can leave this thing sit out here tonight, come back here tomorrow morning, stoke up the fire, get right back to work. It's very, very nice to have, and they hold their value well. And I think there's a lot of people out there that don't know all the benefits to having one of these things. And I know they're expensive, but everything's expensive nowadays, and they hold their value. So that is my story on excavators. I like those numbers, by the way. I'm a big numbers guy. I've had one 4.5% of my life, and in that time I got 50% of the work done at least on this property. But anyway, that is my opinion on excavators. You can take it or leave it, or you could even show this video to your wife to help explain why you need one. right, I got 2 more oaks down. This little one right here, this is a white oak. I'll cut the top off somewhere right in here. I just kind of swung it over on top of the burn pit. And then this big red oak, this will go for firewood. It's pretty rough shape. I left this one here kind of on purpose, just figuring I'll dig that giant stump out right there. I'm gonna have a big hole, and what's ever left from the burn pit, all the ash and everything, I'll just push that in the bottom and put a couple feet of cover over top of it. Should be okay. But yeah, this one's got a lot of black spots all over it. I think this was hit with lightning at one time. It was still alive though, and when I cut into it with the saw, had a bunch of water pouring out of it. But yeah, firewood. But anyway, that's it for today's video. I want to thank Policy Genius for sponsoring today's video, and I want to thank all of you for being here. We'll catch you on the next one.